Welcome back to another episode of a very basic space program. I think this is episode 8 now. Last time we sent up the Coniston, did a mission with that. We sent up our Javelin again to just do I think it was a downrange contract. We have, at the end of last episode, accepted this altitude sounding rocket, which we should be able to complete reasonably easy. It's been 900 days overdue. So we're getting a big bonus for it, so we're just going to stick one of our normal craft on. Now, for something this size, we could actually have probably used a smaller rocket. Actually, we could have used maybe a 2-stage smaller rocket, one of our newer engines on a smaller sounding rocket to achieve it. But, we'd rather save money on tooling and things like that and just setting up one of the big ones. The other side of that is that we have this experimental rocket planes and the X-Planes High contract, and I think we're going to do the experimental rocket planes, and it's going to basically be 120 days by the time we've mounted our plane, so that'll be okay for that. And then we're going to jump over to X-Planes High and do that straight after. Okay, so we'll do 2 of those back to back straight away. We've got enough pilots for it, I believe, available. So let's get on with it. Right, we are ready for our first flight of this episode. So this is going to be the Coniston 1, and we are going to air launch it straight away. We need to choose our pilot. We're going to choose our distance. I don't think 1,000's the right distance. We're going to go for, 200 like previously. We could go less. We've been dragging it out. Let's make it 150, and we'll do a quick speed down. Azimuth's okay. Altitude is okay. Velocity is as good as we're going to get. And we're going to need to put a pilot in there. So we have yet to use Fred, I believe. So Fred is going to be our pilot for this one. And we are going to go for it, I believe. So fill tanks and launch. We are just about to do the air launch thing. We're going to prepare ourselves. Check what this mission is that we want. So it's not the sounding rocket. It's not that. We need to get our thrust going there. Get the thrust up. Fire that set of engines. Wonderful. And I want to head upwards a bit. So what we're actually looking for is, let's have a look, where are we? A rocket plane. We need to get over 550 meters per second, between 10 and 20 kilometers, and we need to reach at least 20 kilometers in altitude. So we're going to pull up, aim for that 20 kilometers, and on the way we should hit the 550. I'm pretty sure. In fact, we're going to get there very quickly indeed. So we're going to just nose up nice and high, nice and extreme heat. Hopefully we'll make it to land. Actually, I've just been thinking about this. We've actually started 150 kilometers out. It might be advisable not to not to go too steeply up. We need to glide down nicely. So here we are. We've got 10 kilometers already as our predicted altitude if we follow that line. We'll just keep heading up like that. We've got plenty of fuel on board. We've got 2 minutes of burn time here. We're gonna, when we level out, we should easily reach the required sub-target. So what we're going to do is bring the nose down a bit and start ourselves into a nice little sort of low hop into that 20 kilometer range. Now, this craft is completely unchanged to the previous flight. I've not done any sort of modifications. We are, however, for the X-Planes High, going to have to start thinking about possible modifications, because they will require that it goes higher. I'll need to check. I think it's going to have to go to 45. As we can see, yeah, we could probably do that with a very steep climb, but we'll have to look into it, I think. Potentially looking at additional engines, give us a bit more thrust there. We've got a lot of fuel sort of on board at the moment. These aren't the most efficient of engines. We've got, tankage is okay. I need to check just what sort of fuel allocation we've set ourselves for. We're over our target there. So now what we've got to do is reach that goal, and we should do that any minute now, any second. So there we go. And then we can just bring the nose down. We can actually see if we can get a bit of a speed record on this. Now we have to be careful because we know this cockpit actually, it got a little bit of overheating last time on the way down. So I need to be aware of that. We need to think again about, do we need to have any particular system of slowing the craft down? Are we going to break 1,000? That would be quite a nice little barrier to break. Okay, liquid oxygen is running low on those engines. I don't think we're going to hit 1,000. Oh no, we might actually. We're going to do that. Did we hit 1,000 last time? Oh, cut that. Ooh, we have an overheating problem going on. This is interesting. And it's stopped now. Was that just a graphical glitch? Was that something important overheating? I do know that I have the latest version of Realism Overhaul, which has changed some of the temperatures on this cockpit, but I do know there's some submission to actually change something to do with the internal temperatures even more. So that would be something I need to check actually. I'll have to have a look at that. So we're going to make land quite easily here, aren't we? We've pulled up, we've slowed down. I think we beat, here we go, we got over 900 meters per second, that's nice. Do we have another, so this one just got to return home now. Do we have another, so the crude next speed is 1,200. I'm not sure that this cockpit could actually do that, that's concerning. We might have to wait until the X-15 equivalent cockpit. Can we do a little bit of a turn, lose a bit of speed, I think, as we're coming down. Do that, maybe, yeah, we go. We'll just skirt that way. And then we'll just roll over and we'll skirt that way. There we go, just get a bit of speed off, that's nice. And then we'll just turn back, and there we go. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that a lovely bit of flight there? We're coming down. Again, a bit of speed on our rapid descent, and we just want to put it down on the little archipelago there. And I don't really know the sort of cape very well, so this is an interesting sort of structure. Is this what it's like? It actually has islands, and it says, I thought there was like causeways. Is there not causeways there that they're just not showing? Please, I should really look on the map and actually learn. I mean, I know there's all the launch sort of complexes, a really long line, and you know, there's our little launch complex there. So I think I might have to look into that and actually learn it. It's terrible that I don't know actually. Being British, you just you know. The Cape and rockets launching from it, that's about as much as you normally learn. Yes. So here we go, come around. Now this is interesting. Have I updated this edge of this is interesting. I hadn't noticed that before. I thought that normally just ended in an end. So I wonder if that's updated with an update to procedural fairings that I may have actually put in. That's quite cool. I quite like that though. It looks really good. Right. We're coming in, we're quite fast, so we're going to do the traditional get over land and then pull up really fast and hard and slow our craft down and activate the brakes. There we go. Right, what's this? It's like a Top Gun thing, isn't it? The flying, buzzing the tower and then doing some brakes and flying. I seem to remember something about that. Anyway, I'm starting to show my age now talking about that. Right, let's just do that and then do this, and we're going to kill a bit of our velocity. There we go, that's what I wanted. And we're going to stall. There we go. And we need to wait until a negative velocity is achieved. Okay, here we go. And I'd really like to land right on top of the base. That would be, oh, not too on top of it, actually, just thinking about it. We don't want to land too on top of it. That would be bad. Now, what I didn't take into account was, did we start the experiment? Did we get anything? Oh, we got some data from the experiment. We got 6 points, I think, on this flight. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Where are we? It's the one I want. Let's have a look. Coniston. So, we have no data returned yet. Where do I see what data we've got? Data. We have 1 slot, 2 credits worth of supersonic flight data. Oh, well, that's not much at all. So we're going to have to do another set of those. Oh dear. So I think we need to check those tasks for that. We may end up just flying this craft a few times just to achieve those things actually, but we will see. It doesn't cost us much to actually send it up, but I need to actually check those parameters because it is science that we need to just get. What's this? Oh, liquid oxygen is low. Yeah, we know that. Now let's actually have a look. Did we cut engines? I cut the engines earlier, didn't I? So we've got a bit of fuel on board, lots of oxygen. Wonderful. Let's just get this craft all the way down onto the deck, and it comes down reasonably level, doesn't it? Bit of helium pressuring going on there. Wonderful. Again, we could actually potentially put another bit of fuel tankage in here because these engines don't sit all the way back. It gives me some ability to play around with it. Or we could stick a bigger engine on. Is actually the potential plan for that, but we'll look at that in the future. So the Coniston 1 is coming down. We're going to slow it down just as it gets near the ground. There we go. It's going to land at 4 meters per second, and of course we would normally have some sort of skids built into it. There we go. And we will now recover the vessel. Right, so here we are. We can see that we have got Fred Collins has got a bit more added to his retirement time, and he has until what, next week? Next week he's going to be away, so we can't use him in a week, but then it takes 10 days to load the craft up anyway, so that's not a big issue. So we didn't get anything from that. We got some bits back and all that sort of stuff, but we did get supersonic flight. We got we got some science added onto the set there. Now, while we're waiting for that to be recovered, we have got craft already being built. So I'm going to actually show you this, but we're going to do this in a way you can edit craft that you've started building. So we could click on the little star and go edit. We're going to look at the J007. This is another Javelin 1C craft, and it's pretty much the same as the Javelin 1C that was J006. And the only thing that we've actually done, we've actually cloned it, is just change the payload. So this here, we can change it. We've got it as 130 at the moment. We could actually drop it down, I think, but we should be well within the range for this mission because it requires 125 there. So we can take it down 5 units. And we have duplicated this for the next mission, the next one of these. So we've got a spare backup, and with that one we could always change this payload as well if we want to complete another mission. So while that's building, let's get the Coniston sorted out and get it on with another mission, I think. So let's do that. Right, it is now 12 days since the last Coniston flight. It's come back, we've refueled it, reset it, got everything back the way it should be. We've put it back on the top of its carrier plane, and now it's time for another launch. So we could either go and try and just finish this X-planes out, which would give us absolutely nothing apart from a little bit of completion, because it's only 12 days, so it's sort of pointless. We have only got one of those left. However, this will actually end as soon as we do one of these, I think. I think as soon as we do an X-planes high, we won't get any more experimental rocket planes. So if we had a bit more time on that, I'd be tempted to do it, but yeah, I think we're going to go straight for these because this payout is starting to get quite large. But we're going to go, I think, for the difficult. So the difficult is, let's have a look. We've got to get to 45 kilometers. That's what we're going to go for. Okay, we're going to go for the difficult. I think. You know what? No, we're going to go because we can actually rattle these off. I think that's 30. That's interesting. We're going to have to do these regularly anyway, every 120 days. So let's just do the normal high. I was going to say jump to the difficult because of the payout difference, but actually, we're actually going to lose potentially some out, and we're still spending time on our rockets. So we're going to take the high one, and we're going to accept that. So it's going to be to 30. We know we can do that, and we still need to get that science as well. So just grinding through these is not a big issue, actually, just working our way through them. While we're doing that though, we've been saving a bit of funds because we want to be able to get things like, let's have a look, where are we? We would quite like this engine, which is going to cost us, 43 when we get it available. And potentially, I may opt, depending upon what the timing is like, to go straight for one of the LRs over here, which is a big expense, and is probably going to be something we use for our first orbit. So this will be coming out of funding before that to take it as a step. So we've got enough for that and more. We also are potentially going to get close to getting integral tanks. And integral tanks cost a bit of money as well. But I think it's worth us spending some of these points right now on upgrades. We're going to get 1, 2, let's get 3 of them. 3 of them takes us down a bit. We've still got a bit of money in the bank just in case anything goes completely wrong. We're going to stick those in the VAB and wrap that up a little bit. There we go. So our VAB is now up to 10, and that means that it's only going to be 72 days to do one of those craft. We've cut 20 days off the actual build time, which is really good. Our tech is still taking a bit, so we might need to keep putting more in there. And in fact, you know what, this plane mission is going to be a success, so let's just put one more in there. Let's just put one in R&D as well. I've gone completely against my plans there, but that'll help us just a little bit. So this early materials science is quite important. This is going to give us, this one here is going to give us a stepping stone for better separate tanks, but also towards this, which is the integral tanks, which we really do want if we're going to go orbital. Before that, we've got to do the 3,000 kilometer downrange mission, and that we will do with this engine here, and probably the sort of standard structure tanks that we've got. We also need to then also start looking at these things, because you know, there's some more science out there that we'd like. We do have a few science points to spend. I'm trying to decide what I want to spend it on. Do we want to go, you know, rockets, improved engines, get maybe some of the Russian ones? I don't know, but let's get going. So we're going to launch the Coniston, and let's see, the normal settings, very good. We want to hold this one, so we're going to get to 30, and then we just want to pretty much hold, I think is what we're looking at, hold speed. And we'll probably actually slow our speed down and get a bit of climb just slower, let the engines run a bit longer, get a bit more science out of it. So we want that, and we're going to put in, yeah, Janet can go for this one, I think. So let's go with Janet. Right, we are just about to launch. We've got atmospheric autopilot on. The primary objective of this mission is to get into that altitude. Hold on, let's just get the engines going. There we go. Got a good light. Right, primary objective is to get to that 30 kilometer altitude. That's what we're aiming for. Getting science on this one isn't key, actually, because we want to start the timer on the next one of these flights. So we want to complete this flight as quickly as possible. We can send up a pure science mission later. I must say, actually, comments down below, have these contracts always alphabetized themselves like this? I never noticed that they were alphabetical before. That's interesting. I should have. I'm sure I would have noticed it. Anyway, that's quite cool if it has done that. That's quite a good way of doing it. Right. We're just going to stick the nose up, and I actually don't mind how sharp we're going to go up. I'm going to put as much throttle as we can, and I'm going to hold this craft. I want to go up as fast as possible. Ideally, when we're actually doing this for science, I would now at this point level this craft out and hold it at just over the 10, and then pop the power down on the engine. But as we're trying to go as high as possible, I'm just going to put it up at quite an acute angle. So we're looking at what, 50 degree climb there. So yeah, looking on the ball about 50 degrees, which is definitely not the most efficient. Let's be honest. These engines do give us a good thrust to weight, so we are going to be gaining quite a bit of altitude. Towards the end of burnout, we're going to have thrust to weight ratio over in excess of 2, which means we'll be able to go up at quite a pace. Now, interestingly, am I seeing? Oh, that's a reflection on the back of the wing. That's really cool. That is really good. I do love the waterfall and the lighting and everything. I think it's superb. So we're going to be up at predicting 20 now, and we're just going to hold it like this. We're just going to keep it at this angle. We're not getting much forward momentum. Now I could go up at 45, would probably be a little better, like about here, would probably be a bit better for us. But we'll see. I'm nervous about achieving this. I think to go higher than 30, we're going to end up having to strap some more engines on to give us that bump. Because particularly at the start there, we're actually just gaining speed to make this craft actually be able to fly. So we need to be aware of that. So 30 kilometers is, you know, a good start for us. I'm glad we didn't choose the difficult one for the extra cash. So I can see this craft is going to have to morph a little bit. We're going to have to fit some engines in there, possibly another set of engines. So we have 3 on the back. We'll have to look at that. Right, we can level this out now. Just do that. And there we go. Task complete. Bring it down. And throttle right down. Oh, and we're out of fuel. How wonderful. Perfect. That makes that easy. So, we've got a new altitude record. Wonderful. We have a new crude altitude record there as well. The X-Plane's high is doing well. We've got a 40 kilometer altitude record that we could go for. But the X-Plane's high is just the getting home safe now problem. So, we're going to put her into a little bit of a dive and head off back to base. So, as always, we want to land near the base ideally. If we can't make it, well, that's not a big problem. So let's speed up the craft, get it down. There we go. Get it on the marker. And this thing should just about be able to make it. There we go. Straighten that, do a bit of that. Not flying very well because, you know, quite a lot of speed being carried still. And I've got it on time warp, so interestingly, of course, time warp is always going to be fun for you. Do not try this at home. Use sensible settings. Right, let's pop it into normal and just refine that a little bit. That's good. And then we'll just pop it fast again. And you can see our speed, even though we're heading down, our speed is actually going down. We're going to be subsonic pretty soon. In fact, for this altitude, we're pretty subsonic. We're subsonic now. And then we're going to just come in and, yeah, activate the brakes, I think, any second. So get them on. Wish we had gear, so the little tiny brakes. I should really redesign these. These are basically just little flaps going on there. What we could actually do is definitely, I think I mentioned this in a previous one, is actually stick some sort of air brake structure on the back. Would be an idea, possibly in here, possibly on there. Maybe modify this tail, this vertical stabilizer to have it in. I don't know. We might look at that for a future version. All right. So now we're just going to pull the nose up, level it out, slow it down. Here we go. And how close can we get it to the house? Let's have a look. We don't want to do too much. There we go. Do a bit of that, and we'll fire parachutes now, I think. There we go. And they're gone. Wonderful. Nice and loose. The craft is fine. Knock off the autopilot, so it's going to flop now. Just flop down. And where are we going to land? Oh dear, I may have actually overdone this and gone a bit too close to where we're supposed to land. Right, let's speed that down a bit. That is looking a lot like the hangar, if I'm not mistaken. I'm hoping we're going to go. Oh no. Right, this is yeah. Maybe parachutes were not the best idea we've ever had. Right, let's let this thing go down. Yeah, that's good. That's interesting. It's just, I don't think we need to see the heads up right now. All right. Interesting. Interesting. And interesting. I think we're going to just park it. Just look at that. Perfect. It's always what we planned. It's always what we planned. We always planned to put it. What's that scaffolding they're doing? Oh, interesting. Slow it down so we're not doing physical time warp as we come down. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, well, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, look at that. That's brilliant. I mean, not the best view ever, but it'll do. Right. So with that, let's recover the plane and get on with the next mission. While we were waiting for the Coniston to be recovered, I've spent another point on the tech, the research R&D upgrade thing. So we've now got a total of 10 in the VAB, 9 in the R&D. I think maybe another 1 in the R&D and then focus on the VAB possibly. We'll see. So vessels are going okay from the VAB at the moment. That's going to be our next flight in 70 days. So it's probably going to be what, May time. It's going to be a May launch, but it's taking a while for these. And then this one will start building for hopefully the flight after that. We do need to start looking at the 3,000 meter downrange mission at some point. So I may put something together for the next episode of that. We also need to look at this Coniston and see can we modify it. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to modify this thing, and I think we're going to put some more engines on it. But before we do that, and we'll probably do that in the next episode, before we do that, I'm actually going to send it out again to do some science, because that low speed 300 science, I think we can get more of it at the moment. We've currently got, let's have a check, what's the current situation with supersonic, where are we? Supersonic flight, there we are. We've got more than half now. We've got 8.6 of 6.4. It runs for 25, so yeah, I think it would normally take 5 flights to get all of it. 0.2 samples per flight. I think, and I do actually believe this has been updated. This has been changed in the most recent Realism Overhaul or RP-1 contracts. I think it's now only 3 flights you require because the sample size has been reduced. I think I'd have to check that. So I think what we'll do is we'll send up 1 just to do that right now. So I'm going to edit that, get that prepared, but we'll probably send that up after the Javelin's done. So we might do that at the start of the next episode before we modify it. So next thing you will see will be me putting this Javelin onto the launch pad, I hope. Right, it is the 20th of the 4th, 1954. We're actually racking through the years here, so we're 4 years into the space program. We still haven't actually gone downrange very far, but we're going for altitude this time. So we've got the Javelin 1 CJ007. We're going to launch that and see just how high it can go. Let's get on with this. So here it is, the J007. Oh, I just realised the amusing naming of that. Anyway, so the aim for this one is just to get to that, there we are, to 170 kilometers. We've got the payload and everything. That's all we're looking for. Now, the interesting thing will be to just see just how high this can actually get. So we're going straight up, which is, you know, never a great idea. Should probably put a slight, in fact we will, we'll put a slight turn on it. Yeah, let's not do that just yet. We're going to use the smart ASS, and then we'll just pitch it over just a little bit once we get to any decent altitude. So smart ASS is on, and we're going to be ready for engines, and engines firing. We have fire, release, off we go. Right, we are accelerating now. We're going to just change, look at that, engine heats up already, internal temperature gets going. We're going to put a little bit on, a little bit out towards sea, just a smidgen, just a tiny smidgen there, that's what we go. Little smidgen, just take it out to sea. You can see we're getting a lot of drag low down because this engine is doing this. We could actually do like a bumper whack by putting a little RP on the top of there, which would probably be a nice little addition, give us a little bit more range and potentially give us more opportunity to get higher and further. And that's probably what our 3,000 meter downrange rocket will be, either one or two little RPs on the top of there, possibly a solid rocket booster, I'm not sure. I need to think about what we're going to be doing there. So we're going up, already we're at what, potentially 70, 80, 90, 100 kilometers. We have now got something, what have we got, what's popping up? We're not crewed, so that's not a big issue. Right, 200, oof, we're going a long way up. Wow, so this is predicting us as going to 270. However, I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to range safety it before it gets to that sort of altitude. But let's watch it flop around. Once we get into the upper atmosphere, it's not going to have much drag effect. So this craft with this payload, we're looking at potentially what, 270, so 260. 260 is a possibility with this craft. We're going to go to 170, then we're going to blow it. So we've got potentially 100 kilometers of bonus on there, and that was just with the slightest tilt. We're going to speed it up through the atmosphere. Obviously, we could take it all the way to 270. However, no point in doing that in my mind, because what's our next uncrewed altitude? Our next uncrewed altitude is 200. We can do that with another one in the future if we need to. There we go, we've achieved it. So, oh no, let's go up to there, and then we'll just range safety it when it's at. I want that target actually. I quite like that. So, are you over 200? Yes, you are. Then we're going to range safety you. There we go. All done. Right. Back to the Space Center, I think. So with that mission completed, we basically have all of the missions available to us. We've got a lot of the sounding rockets have now got their time back up to above or just about. Yeah, so we've got the altitude sound rockets are pretty much ready to go. The downrange distance is really overloaded with allowances. We've got our biological samples, our film return capsules still we can look at. The X-plane contracts are still there. So next episode, I think we're going to look at X-plane high. Again, we're going to try and maybe get a bit more bang for our buck with our engine, see what we can do with that. Is there any other engine we could possibly try even? And then we're going to choose one of these. We'll probably go for something nice and easy because we've got a craft that's just we can just modify and it's underway. So probably this one just to give us a bit of cash, or something like, what has this got? 210, 190 kilometers downrange. We could do that, I think, probably. So we may look at that. But from me, until next time, have a great one.